All right, welcome back. This is our Xfinity Mobile tweet of the night. It comes from the Pirates, who proudly boast that final today of 4-2 to get to 2 wins, 5 losses. Day off tomorrow. The Yankees and Torpedo Bats come to PNC Park over the weekend. One other news item I want to get to tonight, and that would be Alex Ovechkin did it again. Chris, he got another goal, and that means, and they played Carolina tonight, he is 3 away with 7 games left, I believe, in his pursuit of Wayne Gretzky. I still was holding out hope, and bottom line is, he may go scoreless for a couple of games, and it could come down to that final game, but he's also capable of doing it the next game. 3 goals. He's got 39 on the year, despite missing 25 games. Pretty amazing record.
Pretty amazing indeed. I mean, it's true superstar stuff, what he's doing. The fact that he's missed all that time and he's still filling up the net. If he plays a whole season, I mean, he'd be winning the Rocket Richard, I would think, in a walk or very close to it. He'd be right there. The guy is just pure and simple. I mean, even if he never scored another goal after today, he's the greatest goal scorer, I think, who's ever lived, with apologies to Gretzky and to Mike Bossy and guys like that. This is a harder-than-ever era in which to score goals for a variety of reasons, in my opinion. The way superstars are usually not protected is also a problem. He just goes bombs away from that left circle, and nobody can stop it because it's just such a ridiculously good shot. I think Sid said something to the effect of, if I had a shot like his, I wouldn't have so many assists because I'd be shooting the puck a lot more. The other thing that's funny about him, Bob, we're in kind of this weird golden age of athletes who are playing well into their late 30s or into their 40s and being great. Brady was. LeBron continues to be a marvel in the NBA. Sid, of course, is incredible in the NHL in terms of just well-roundedness. The common thread that unites all 3 of those guys is they are maniacal about taking care of their bodies, or in Brady's case, he was when he was playing, probably still is. Ovechkin is very funny to me because he does the exact same stuff he's always done, according to all of his teammates. He eats the same, carb-filled, quasi-unhealthy meals, basically kind of a Phil Kessel situation, but he's just built different, man. The Russian machine doesn't really break.
Yeah. He reminds me of Miguel Angel Jimenez on the PGA or now Senior Tour. He goes in there, he has cigars with him at all time. He does 3 circular motions with his hips. He goes to the first tee and he wins events, even at his age now. So it doesn't, I mean, if you're wound that way and you win, what's the change? Why change? It's worked well for Alex Ovechkin. All right, 412-575-2600. We have some salaries to get into. I'll get to that in a second. But first, we're going to go out to the phone lines and welcome in Bill from Greensburg. Hello, Bill.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good,
I think
thanks.
you hit the nail on the head. This manager does not know how to use his bullpen. I almost pulled my hair out when I saw him bring Halderman in the 8th inning. He has given up a run every inning he's pitched. And, guys, if you follow last year, he hasn't pitched well since last June. The guy needs DFA. The Mets knew what they were doing when they got rid of him. I want to hear your comments. Thank you.
Well, I mean, he's and Chris said it earlier, he's sort of headed in the Bednar direction if things don't turn around for him. But at the same time, they need some right-hand pitchers in that bullpen, and he occupies one of those spots. So, the bottom line is I think you'll see a little bit more time with him. But if this continues, then if they did that for Bednar after 3 games, and I realize it dated back to the last year, it certainly can hold true for him. The other thing, Chris, is their lineup. Every day it's a different one. Today they had Tommy Pham batting cleanup. And McCutchen didn't play for 3 games in a row, and he is strictly a designated hitter, so they got some concerns there for sure.
Well, I mean, here's a couple of different things I want to address early on. Brian Reynolds has this triceps issue that's preventing him from being able to throw the ball. He can hit, but he can't throw, so he's got to be the DH. It does not speak highly of Andrew McCutchen's overall physical well-being, I guess, or how, is he a guy who's kind of broken down physically at the end? He can't go out and play the field 1 game, not one. That does not really bode well for him in the long term if his wheels are just not there anymore. His body just can't stand up to even 1 day in the field, so that's something to monitor. I'll go back to this about Shelton and about his bullpen management. I said this very plain statement, and it must have sparked this eureka thing in Pony's brain today on the show. I just said he's a hitting coach. And we got down the rabbit hole of thinking, if you were going to make a football comp, what do most teams seem to want in a head coach now? They want somebody who's an offensive mind, an offensive coordinator on the rise, because the idea is they have the best handle on how to treat quarterbacks, which are so important. And I just think it's fair to wonder whether or not a hitting coach by trade comes in and just does not have a good support system around him to teach him how to manage a bullpen. I think you could make a basic argument that a guy who's a pitching coach by trade who gets a manager's job might have a better feel for that. Or it means you've got to have the bench coach that you're leaning on, and he's going to help you with the bullpen. But Jim Leland has said it to us. I'm sure he's said it to you, Bob, others. That is the most important part anymore of being a manager, is just simply put, being able to handle your bullpen. And I don't think Shelton has ever displayed any kind of touch whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's very sporadic. There are a lot of different things going on with guys getting in there. Too many times it's just because there's a designated inning involved. I don't like that approach. By the way, you see our KDKA.com Connect poll of the night. Will the Pirates at any point of the season be over 500? And right now, no's are beating the yays in that one. Real quick, I want to ask you about a couple of signings before we go back to the phone lines here. And that would be Jackson Merrill. He's a 21-year-old center fielder with San Diego. If it was any other year, he would have been the Rookie of the Year last year. I think 25 home runs, 96 runs batted in. San Diego decided to give him already a 9-year deal for $135 million, which could balloon to $204 million. On the same day, we saw in Boston a kid named Christian Campbell. He's played a week in the majors, and they decided to give him, I believe it was $60 million over 8 years. And I say this only because these guys are trying to do what Milwaukee's done with Jackson Chourio, get ahead of it a little bit, try to get beyond some arbitration years. Yeah, you're taking a risk, no doubt. Skeens is a pitcher. Those two guys are position players. Should the same be accorded his way? You know, should the Pirates look to something like that? I don't know if he would be willing to do it. What would you do if you were them?
Yes, I would, of course, ask him and try to do something that you thought was fair and that he would actually consider. Yes. I mean, I understand it would preclude them doing other things, except it wouldn't. They could absolutely sign him to a deal that was maybe more backloaded and then still do things up front. I'm shocked that Boston got that deal done, by the way. They signed Crochet, too, to a very lucrative deal. Ketel Marte, a guy in his 30s. I know it's not analogous to what you're bringing up, but the Diamondbacks inked him for an extension. There's a super underrated player. The Campbell deal I'm shocked by. Do you know why, Bob? And I'm not trying to dodge the question on Skeens. I would have thought that what the Braves have done with Ozzie Albies, excuse me. I almost said Albie Oxenreiter there. I don't know why. Ronald Acuna, Riley down there.
Michael
I would have
Harris.
thought that once those super team-friendly deals were signed by the Braves, which has locked in a great core for a long time, and they're horrible deals, right? They really are. Agents who sign those deals are probably getting pilloried in the industry. I would have thought it would have been much tougher to do these kinds of things like what the Red Sox did and to a lesser extent what the Padres did with Merrill. So, yeah, I would try to strike while the iron's hot if you're the Pirates, but I just don't think Skeens is going to go for it because as good as Merrill is, Skeens is on a different planet as far as his ceiling.
Yeah, he is. And the bottom line is if they're not going to do it, and they probably know they're not, then they should have done in this offseason what they should have done for them this year and the next 3, if he's going to be around that long. Load it up with talent around him because you're essentially dealing with a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal. Let's go to Tom and Shaler. Hey, Tom, what's up? Go ahead.
How's it going, Bob?
Good, thanks.
I was just wondering, they had a good quality pitcher in Ortiz, a flexible guy that could work out of the bullpen and start, and they choose to let him go, and then they have these other guys like Holderman that just gives it up every time. And also, you ever think they'll let Skeens go into the 8th or 9th inning?
Yes. I mean, yes. Pure and simple, especially if you stay away from the bullpen, and the bullpen may need rest most of the time that he's out there. He's not only a stopper, he is a reliever in the sense that he's relieving this bullpen of some of the stress they have. So, Chris, yeah, I forget what he said at the beginning.
I would tell you this
what
about
did he say at the beginning there? Whatever he said.
What,
I forgot.
Ortiz?
No, about Ortiz, yeah, because I liked Ortiz.
Well, they traded him for Horwitz. They tried to make a baseball trade, and maybe if Horwitz comes in and rakes, they didn't just let him go. So if people actually thought they just released him, that's not what happened.
The injury to
used him as one of the
Horwitz has made it
centerpieces or the main
difficult to
centerpiece
assess
to
it.
make a trade.
Yeah.
But if Horwitz isn't good when he actually gets healthy, that's going to look horrible almost no matter what Ortiz does for Cleveland. So, and then as far as Skeens, really quickly here. We all wonder how the evolution of him is going to work because he's so advanced mentally and he's obviously unmatched physically in what he's capable of and the stuff that he's got. I think you're going to see a lot more games, believe it or not, in an ideal world for Paul Skeens, like the way he wants to develop, that look like today, where you come away from it going, yeah, he didn't look that impressive. He didn't look like the most unhittable pitcher in baseball, and yet you look up and it's 7 innings, 1 run. It wasn't earned. He didn't walk anybody. He didn't give up many hits, and he struck out 6 like this. I would almost hesitate to call it workmanlike because it's not, because it's elite level. But like one of those unimpressive but incredibly impressive in the end starts, right? Where the look of it is not overwhelming, but the actual result is. Because I think he wants to go deeper into games. He said as much. He said that's like a big focus for him.
And I think as this season goes on, you will see that for sure. By the way, one other note, Andy Toole timeout in the Robert Morris got a well-deserved contract after 26 wins, Horizon League Championship, and probably gave Alabama their best opposition until they, until they lost at the end. But, man, they played a good game against them up in Cleveland, so congrats to him. We're due for a break. We'll take it back with more right after this. A couple of real quick things for you, Chris, before we go. Tonight, the Houston Rockets clinched a playoff spot for the first time in, I think, 6 years. They're a pretty good basketball team. Also, Toronto Maple Leafs have now qualified for the playoffs 9 years in a row. How long they last will be the big question. And I have a question for you. Last night, we saw Steph Curry go for 52, 12 three-pointers, I think 17 with a great percentage. And you also had on the same night, Nikola Jokic go for 61 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. Who wore it better?
Whose better? Whose performance?
Who wore it better? Which one would
who wore it
take?
better? Jokic. I'm sorry, Bob. I have a little hard of hearing tonight. Jokic wore it better. We've seen Steph do this a million times. That's not to, down talk his performance, but there's just something about Jokic. He goes for 61. He's got Anthony Edwards, who's like this baby Jordan as far as athletic ability, just saying, like, the dude is basically the best player I've seen, and it's insane up close how good he is. And he just, I don't know, if you knew nothing about him and he showed up to your local run and he's playing this like earthbound brand of basketball, other than the fact that he's 7 feet, you'd be looking at this guy going, all right, I guess we'll take him. He's just a wizard. He is truly like what I imagine Arvydas Sabonis, although Sabonis was so athletic in his prime. But if we had seen like Sabonis from the 80s before he got hurt. I know you're a basketball head, so I know you know what I'm talking about.
Right. No,
the passing, the skill level. I feel like other than Sabonis being more athletic, this is what it would have looked like. He's one of the greatest players ever. Like, he's close to the top 10
Chris. Ever. I agree with that. But the skill of his passing, Jokic, is unbelievable. Good night, everyone.